Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
As the twin suns of Vyloria dipped below the horizon, casting an ethereal glow across the vibrant landscape, Ellie adjusted her visor and scanned the lush environment with exhilaration. This alien planet, rich with exotic plant species and bioluminescent flora, was unlike anything she had ever witnessed on Earth. As a botanist on a vital research mission for the Galactic Alliance, her objective was to catalog the unique vegetation that thrived here. But she found herself captivated by not just the plants, but by the pulsating life surrounding them. Ellie carefully picked her way through the dense underbrush, glancing at the towering trees adorned with iridescent fruits that gleamed like polished gemstones. Unbeknownst to her, the beating heart of Vyloria was not just its stunning landscape, but also its complex culture, where the act of sharing food held paramount significance, a ritual steeped in tradition among its inhabitants. The Vylorians, tall and elegantly built, had skin that shimmered in hues of purples and blues, resembling the colors of the planet's twilight sky. They moved with a grace that spoke of both strength and agility. As Ellie's heart raced in anticipation of meeting them, she couldn't shake the feeling of being an intruder in their world. But her mission was crucial, and she was determined to bridge the gap between their species. On the outskirts of a clearing, Ellie stumbled upon a gathering of Vylorians, sharing an assortment of colorful and fragrant dishes. Her curiosity piqued. She hesitated, peeking through a break in the foliage. They moved with a rhythm, their laughter filling the air, a language filled with melodious sounds that could only be described as music. She felt a pang of longing. It was clear that sharing food was not only a meal, but an expression of trust and belonging. But before she could step back, overwhelmed by the thought of interrupting such a beautiful ceremony, her foot caught on a twisted vine, sending her tumbling into the clearing. The Vylorians froze, their attention shifting to the sudden intrusion. Ellie, flustered and embarrassed, scrambled to her feet. "I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, adjusting her gear. "I didn't mean to interrupt." Her voice, a stark contrast to the melodic tones of the Vylorians, drew the attention of one in particular. Owen, with his striking features and intense violet eyes, stepped forward. Curiosity danced behind his gaze as he assessed this human who had burst into their sacred space. Ellie felt an odd connection to Owen, an energy that pulled at her. It was in that moment that she realized she was not merely an observer of this new world, but a participant in its unfolding story. The silence that followed Ellie's tumble was almost deafening. The Vylorians regarded her with a mix of surprise and intrigue. Even Owen, who appeared to be both a leader and a curious onlooker, seemed momentarily captivated by the human's sudden appearance. Ellie brushed off the dirt from her pant legs, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. "I really didn't mean to crash your gathering." She managed a nervous smile, hoping it would ease the tension. She had heard that Vylorians valued their communal gatherings, and here she was, interrupting something sacred. Owen took a step closer, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "You are not of our kind," he stated, his voice deep and melodic, making Ellie's heart race as he pronounced each word carefully, as if tasting the unfamiliar language. "No, I'm a human," Ellie replied, her voice steadying. "I've come to study the plants, the biodiversity here." Owen nodded, his expression softening. "Biodiversity. We understand," he said, motioning to a nearby table laden with fruit and dishes. "But you should understand, sharing food is a significant act among our people." Ellie blinked, feeling a twinge of apprehension. "Oh, I didn't realize how important it was. I just thought." He interrupted gently. "You have entered a sacred space. Sharing food is known to signify deep connection, possibly even union. Our rituals, they are not simple." Ellie felt the weight of his words. A marriage proposal? No way. She suddenly felt out of place, a mere botanist tangled in the web of a tradition that felt insurmountable. "I just offered a snack," she stammered, her mind racing to clarify the misunderstanding. Owen's eyes glinted with a mix of amusement and understanding, and Ellie noted the slight curve of his lips, hinting at a smile. "What did you offer?" She hesitated, her mind racing back to her rations. I shared a protein bar," she confessed, realizing how simple and mundane it sounded in the context of the elaborate spread before her. A ripple of laughter surged through the gathered Vylorians, and Ellie's heart sank. Had she truly insulted their customs? Owen stepped forward, calming the atmosphere with a wave of his hand. "There is merriment in your offering, human," he said, his tone light. "In sharing food, the act creates bonds. Now you must navigate it. Would you share more with us? In doing so, you may embrace our customs further." Feeling overwhelmed, Ellie nodded, unsure of how to proceed, but driven by the desire to understand. "Okay, I'd be honored." As she approached the table, colorful dishes filled with both familiar and foreign ingredients caught her eye. Owen pointed to a vibrant, fleshy fruit that resembled a large berry. "This is a sorry fruit. It is sweet and revitalizing." Ellie took the offered fruit, her fingers brushing against Owen's. A spark of connection ignited, sending an unexpected thrill coursing through her. Hesitating, she brought it to her mouth, savoring its unique flavor, a blend of sweet and tart, reminiscent of the berries she had loved back on Earth. "Delicious!" she exclaimed, her face lighting up. Owen smiled, his expression transforming into one of admiration. "Now share with me." Her heart raced as she realized that sharing this moment could mean so much more in his culture. She remembered her training back on Earth, the lessons of respect and understanding across cultures. It felt like a lifetime ago. Gaining her confidence, Ellie handed him another piece of the fruit, their fingers grazing again. The Vylorians observed eagerly, their interest piqued. In that moment, she sensed a shift. What felt like a simple exchange now brimmed with the weight of their cultural significance. Unlike her expectations, this was no mere act of eating. With a courageous breath, Owen took a bite. The way his expression changed, how his violet eyes brightened, felt almost like an unspoken promise. The laughter and chatter around them faded, merging them into their own private world of budding emotions and uncharted paths. Ellie found herself enveloped in this new atmosphere. The air was thick with potential, and she was suddenly aware of her place in this vibrant tapestry of life. Yet, as the laughter of the Vylorians continued, she couldn't shake the feeling of a lingering complexity hanging between her and Owen, a connection that both thrilled and frightened her. Days turned into weeks as Ellie remained on Vyloria, and the initial awkwardness of their encounter began to blossom into a vibrant camaraderie. She spent her days cataloging the extraordinary flora while learning more about Owen and his customs. The bond they formed through shared meals had opened the door to an unexpected friendship, one that Ellie hadn't anticipated yet found herself yearning for. Owen became her guide, taking her to secret groves filled with rare plants and teaching her about their medicinal properties and the stories behind them. In return, Ellie introduced him to her own collection of Earth culinary techniques, transforming their simple snacks into small, shared feasts that delighted his senses. One afternoon, while they were relaxing under the neon-hued leaves of a giant Eigland tree, Owen began to recount the lore of his ancestors, his voice swimming through the air with a melodic cadence that made Ellie wish she could bottle it up and carry it with her forever. "Our people believe that every plant carries the spirit of the land," he explained, gently touching the bark of the tree they rested against. "When we share food, we invite those spirits into our hearts, forging a bond that cannot be easily broken." Ellie listened intently, feeling a warm swell in her chest. "It sounds beautiful," she said softly. "On Earth, food is also a way to bring people together. Family gatherings, birthdays, celebrations. It's our way of showing love." Owen turned his gaze toward her, his violet eyes searching hers. "Such connections are sacred, regardless of the world," he murmured, the weight of their mutual understanding hanging in the air. Their conversation seemed to intertwine with the very essence of Vyloria, weaving a tapestry of trust and respect between them. Yet, beneath their laughter and shared experiences, Ellie sensed a deeper tension brewing just below the surface, a complexity that neither of them fully understood. As they prepared for the annual Harvest Festival, a celebration of bounty and community, excitement coursed through the collective spirit of the Vylorians. It was a time for sharing food, stories, and showcasing the alliance between their peoples. Ellie was determined to participate, wanting to engage fully in Owen's world and learn more about their customs. She even resolved to prepare a dish that mirrored her unique experiences. The night of the festival arrived, and Ellie donned a traditional garb gifted to her by Owen, a flowing ensemble adorned with intricate patterns that mirrored the exquisite flora of Vyloria. She felt both nervous and exhilarated as she walked through the vibrant marketplace, filled with tantalizing scents wafting from colorful stalls where vendors showcased their finest dishes. Owen stood by her side, pride gleaming in his eyes as he introduced her to friends and family. Each greeting was accompanied by laughter, and Ellie felt an overwhelming sense of acceptance in their warmth. They treated her as one of their own despite the human differences, igniting an exuberant feeling within her. Yet, as the festivities unfolded, Ellie noticed the whispers exchanged among some of the Vylorians. Rejecting the sense of foreboding creeping into her mind, she focused on Owen, who seemed ever-present, guiding her through the various rituals and dances that filled the night. In a particularly energetic moment, Owen pulled her into a dance surrounded by a circle of jubilant Vylorians, each movement flowing seamlessly with the rhythm of the drums. As they twirled together, Ellie lost herself to the joy of the celebration and the hypnotic connection binding her to Owen. They moved in perfect harmony, two hearts synchronized in a dance that transcended language and cultural barriers. However, as the night progressed, a group of elder Vylorians approached, their expressions serious. Ellie felt a sudden chill as they interrupted the festivities, casting wary eyes toward her. "Owen," one of the elders spoke, her tone heavy with authority. "This human has shared food with you. You know the implications of such a connection." Ellie's stomach dropped, her earlier confidence faltering. She glanced at Owen, who stood frozen, the joy of the evening suddenly overshadowed by the elder's arrival. "May we speak of this matter?" the elder continued, and Ellie braced herself for the confrontation she had unconsciously feared. "Yes, of course," Owen replied, his voice steady despite the anxiety etched across his face. "But we celebrate. Can it wait a moment longer?" "No," the elder replied firmly, her gaze piercing through Ellie. "It cannot. The bond you share with her carries great weight." The crowd stilled, all eyes turning toward them as the elders continued their admonishment. The atmosphere shifted. A heavy weight of expectation loomed as Ellie could feel the confusion crashing over her like a tidal wave. Her pulse quickened, her heart racing as she realized that their bond was being scrutinized in a way she hadn't anticipated. Ellie's instincts screamed for her to step back, to disentangle herself from the voting gaze of scrutiny, but she was drawn to Owen's unwavering presence. He held his ground, facing the elders with composure, though she could see tension rippling through him. "This is my choice," Owen declared, voice resolute. "She has shown respect for our customs and has embraced our ways. Does culture not allow for alliances that transcend this realm? Are we not creatures capable of change?" A murmur passed through the crowd, a mixture of agreement and dissent. Ellie's heart swelled with admiration for Owen, yet uncertainty gnawed at her. What did this alliance truly mean? Would they understand her human customs? "I wish to learn. I wish to share more than just food." Ellie finally spoke, finding her voice. "But this needs to be a mutual understanding. I don't wish to impose." "Impose," the elder echoed, disbelief tainting her tone. "The act of offering sustenance stirs the bonds of mating. Dear human, you must understand the consequences of your actions. You are not in a world of humans." Her words hung heavily in the air, sealing Ellie in a paradox of hope and dread. As the crowd stared in anticipation, she turned to Owen, catching the depths of his gaze. In that moment, she felt the complexity of their connection, the gravitational pull between their worlds. As the music began to fade into the distance, Ellie breathed deeply, aware of the daunting path ahead. It would require courage, both to accept her heart's yearnings and to confront the realities of their vastly different worlds. The silence that followed the elder's proclamation felt suffocating, the weight of Ellie's sudden realization pressing down on her. She turned to Owen, searching for reassurance in his eyes, but found only the reflection of her own doubts. The festival's energy had shifted, and gasps rippled through the crowd, leaving a stark contrast to the laughter that had filled the air moments before. "What do you mean by mating?" Ellie asked, her voice barely above a whisper, her heart racing. The implications of the elder's words were too heavy to ignore. Was this truly what she had unintentionally signaled with her simple act of sharing food? The elder stepped forward, her expression serious. In our culture, the act of sharing food signifies dedication, a deep bond intended for those who wish to unite for life. You must understand that your actions matter. For Owen, this is not a trifling matter. It invites scrutiny and demands clarity. Ellie felt her cheeks flush in embarrassment, a mix of confusion and fear swirling within her. I didn't mean to imply. I just wanted to share and learn. There's been nothing like this in my experience. Owen moved closer, his towering presence a shield against the prying eyes of the crowd. It was my decision, as much as it was hers, he stated firmly, his voice steady despite the weight of the tension. We have built our connection through respect and understanding, despite the misunderstandings of our cultures. But perhaps you do not understand your own, the elder replied, her voice grave. You risk bringing upheaval. You must choose. Do you stand with your people or pursue something likely to invite chaos? Ellie felt a pang of despair. I don't want to cause chaos. I came here to learn, not to disrupt your traditions. She glanced at Owen, desperate for some sign of what to do next. The realization struck her. She was the one jeopardizing both their worlds. Owen shook his head, determination shining in his eyes. This is not merely a choice of alignment, but a choice of understanding, he reaffirmed. If we must navigate the complexities of our two cultures to coexist and progress, then so be it. The elder regarded him intently, weighing his words before continuing. You will face opposition from many. The heart of our traditions lies in the preservation of our lineage and beliefs. To forge a union with a human is unprecedented. Your decision must reflect the love and honor between your people and ours. Ellie felt a swell of uncertainty. Could she truly navigate such a path? The burgeoning feelings she had for Owen felt powerful yet treacherous. She saw the trust reflected in his eyes, but could she bear the consequences of their bond, both in Vyloria and back on Earth? With a deep breath, she spoke, her voice stronger now. If the choice is mine, then I choose to learn and grow together, in whatever form that may take. But I cannot deny that this is overwhelming. The crowd stirred, whispers traveling like wildfire. Owen stepped closer, taking her hand into his, anchoring her. Together. The elder remained silent for a moment before nodding slowly. Then you must stand before our people and proclaim your intentions, to embrace the cultures intertwined through your bond, to honor what it means to share food and fellowship. Fear gripped Ellie's heart as she realized the weight of those words. She felt trapped between two worlds, each one pulling her in a different direction. But gazing into Owen's unwavering eyes, she drew strength from him. Very well, she said, finding her voice steadying. I will stand with Owen and embrace the trust we have built. I want to understand, truly understand, what this means for both of us. With that declaration, murmurs echoed through the crowd, some fueled by skepticism, others by brave curiosity. The tension thickened the air as they awaited the elder's next response. The elder's lips curved into a slight smile, revealing a flicker of approval. Then let us see if the union can withstand the understanding of both worlds. Prepare yourselves for a binding of souls that may change the perception of many beyond this night. Ellie and Owen exchanged glances, the gravity of the moment hanging in the air, but beneath the tumultuous surface was the unyielding bond they had formed. They would rise together or fall together, hand in hand, committed to embracing a path defined by cultural understanding and love. As the elder stepped back, commanding silence from the crowd, Ellie and Owen prepared to share their declaration, a commitment between a human and an alien, an alliance forged through shared food and deepening affection. As the crowd settled into an expectant hush, Ellie felt her heart race, the weight of their decision pressing heavily upon her. Owen's hand remained firmly grasped in hers, the warmth of his skin bolstering her courage as she prepared to face this significant moment together. The elder gestured for them to step forward, her presence commanding attention. Tonight, we gather to witness a union, a commitment forged through food and shared trust. Ellie, the human, has accepted the call of our traditions. Owen, the Vylorian, stands with her in this. Both seek to marry their worlds. Ellie felt her stomach twist at the word marry. Their cultural frameworks were so different, yet at this moment, she understood how fundamentally the sharing of food translated into the concept of mating among Owen's people. It meant a joining not just of bodies, but of spirits and customs. The magnitude of it surged within her. Mating, in our culture, is not simply an act of physical union, the elder continued, her voice echoing through the clearing. It is an emotional and spiritual alliance that draws forth the essence of our beings. Through this act, we create bonds that transcend the physical realm. The atmosphere pulsed with anticipation. Ellie exchanged a nervous glance with Owen, her mind racing as she thought about the depth of their emotions and the implications of mating. Would their bond be capable of withstanding the barriers of their vastly different backgrounds? I am honored to stand with you, Owen. She finally found her voice, drawing strength from their shared experiences. Your customs, your people, they've opened my hearts to new perspectives, new possibilities. I want to embrace this union fully. Owen's eyes lit up as he nodded, his emotions evident through the subtle gestures of his body. And I wish to explore all that you are as well, Ellie, to learn how our hearts can beat as one, to experience the intimacy and connection of mating. With every word spoken, Ellie felt a tango of excitement and trepidation swirl within her. The festival around them transformed into a beautiful tapestry woven with the hopes of many souls who believed in the potential of this union. The elder instructed them to partake in a ceremonial feast, a sequence of dishes that symbolized the union of their cultures. Vylorian delicacies and human favorites mingled on the table, and Ellie marveled at how the act of sharing food, once a moment fraught with misunderstanding, had evolved into an expression of their combined paths. As they sampled the dishes, Ellie and Owen exchanged glances filled with a mixture of laughter and awe. Each bite tasted different, infused with the spices of their histories, the echoes of their worlds colliding in this sacred space. What do we need to do next? Ellie inquired, her voice soft, yet carrying an edge of resolve that echoed beneath the cheerful noise of revelry. The final ceremonial exchange, Owen responded, his eyes shimmering with purpose. We must consummate our union through the act of mating, the joining not just of our bodies, but of our spirits as one. Ellie's breath hitched. The reality of the moment washed over her. It was an act laden with meaning, a significant step, a transformation of their friendship into a deeper connection that resonated through the very fabric of both their cultures. The crowd was brought to a serene stillness as Owen extended his hand, inviting Ellie to join him at the center of the gathering. He turned toward her, determination shining in his violet eyes. Together, we'll foster a new way, embracing both our cultures, creating something entirely unique. Ellie could feel her heart thrumming, the weight of what lay ahead pulsing in tandem with her own apprehensions. Yet she desired this. She wanted to meld the best of their worlds, celebrating their differences and intertwining their lives. As Owen reached for her, their fingers interlacing, they shared a lingering gaze filled with longing and promise. Slowly, they tipped forward into one another, their lips brushing in the sweetest of kisses, an acknowledgement, an invitation, a uniting of the human and Vylorian essence. Cheers erupted around them, the sounds of a new beginning echoing through the night. As they embraced, Ellie felt a warmth spread through her, igniting every sense and making her acutely aware of their bond. A union built on shared experiences, cultural respect, and now, the act of mating. In the ensuing moments, they became enveloped in a cocoon of intimacy, their breaths mingling, hearts racing as they deepened their connection. Ellie felt their spirits intertwine, the flavor of their cultures mixing and igniting a passion beyond anything she had experienced. As the night unfolded, they danced, laughed, and enjoyed the revelry, but the essence of their joining lingered, the promise of new experiences, entwined destinies, and a cultural tapestry enriched by love and understanding. Days turned into weeks, and as the festival faded into memories, the threads of Ellen and Owen's lives began to weave together in beautiful unison. People from both sides watched with fascination as they navigated their commitment, embodying the spirit of their cultures, dedicated to preserving their identities while building something anew. Ellie found herself immersed not just in Owen's world, but in a dialogue between their two cultures. They hosted gatherings blending human culinary arts with Vylorian traditions, each meal a celebration of their commitment. Laughter filled their home as they explored the best of both worlds, their relationship an evolving masterpiece. Through it all, they discovered more than just mutual customs. They unearthed love, trust, and acceptance. Conversations turned into shared dreams of travel and exploration, each journey a chance to delve into the food and traditions that shaped them. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon casting shades of gold and violet across the sky, Owen took Ellie to the very spot where they first shared food. The same Eigland tree loomed overhead, its branches heavy with blossoms, swaying gently in the breeze. "Do you remember when we first met?" he mused, a nostalgic smile lighting up his face. Ellie laughed softly, recalling her tumble into their sacred gathering. "I certainly didn't expect to be here in a committed relationship, navigating life for two worlds. Yet here we are," Owen replied, drawing her close. "In challenging the norms of our cultures, we've created a new foundation, one that will inspire others to connect beyond their worlds." Ellie tilted her head to meet his gaze, understanding blooming within her. "We've shown that love knows no boundaries, and that sharing food connects us all." With a tender kiss, they solidified their bond beneath the very tree that had borne witness to their journey. Each kiss, immeasurable in meaning, symbolized mutual respect and a celebration of their ties, both with each other and with their communities. With the stars beginning to twinkle above, Ellie and Owen pledged to continue weaving their dreams together, to honor their journey as partners, as lovers, and as the architects of a bridge between their cultures. As they stood beneath the slumbering sky, they embraced not just their love, but the legacy they would build, a legacy born of shared meals, laughter, and an unyielding belief in the beauty of unity amid diversity. Together, they would continue to share food, share culture, and share love until their worlds felt beautifully intertwined, proving that even the most unexpected bonds could flourish against the odds.